When we study the rise of Islam, it is essential to begin with Arabia in the early 7th century, a region that was neither isolated nor culturally stagnant. Arabia sat between the great powers of the Byzantine Empire and the Sasanian Persian Empire, connected by trade routes that carried goods, ideas, and religious traditions across the wider world. Arabian society was organized primarily around tribes and kinship networks. Loyalty to family and clan provided security in a harsh environment where survival depended on cooperation and honor. Political authority was decentralized, and justice was enforced through custom rather than centralized law. Religiously, Arabia was diverse. Most people practiced polytheism, venerating tribal deities associated with particular places. The most important religious site was the Kaaba in Mecca, which already functioned as a pilgrimage center and economic hub. At the same time, Jewish and Christian communities existed throughout the region, especially along trade routes, exposing Arabs to monotheistic traditions. It was in this context that Muhammad was born around 570 CE in Mecca. Orphaned at a young age, he was raised within his clan and later worked as a merchant. His travels brought him into contact with different cultures and religious communities, shaping his awareness of moral and spiritual questions. According to Islamic tradition, in 610 CE, Muhammad began receiving revelations from God through the angel Gabriel. These revelations proclaimed a radical but simple message: there is only one God, and all people are accountable to him. This principle, known as tawḥīd, stood at the center of Islam. The revelations emphasized not only belief, but moral responsibility. They condemned social injustice, exploitation of the poor, dishonesty in trade, and neglect of widows and orphans. Faith in this message was inseparable from ethical behavior. These revelations were eventually compiled into the Qur'an, which Muslims understand as the direct word of God. This message challenged Meccan society in fundamental ways. Monotheism undermined the religious foundations of Mecca's pilgrimage economy, while calls for equality before God threatened established social hierarchies. As a result, Muhammad and his followers faced increasing opposition and persecution. In 622 CE, Muhammad and his followers migrated from Mecca to the city of Medina. This event, known as the Hijra, marks a turning point in Islamic history and the beginning of the Islamic calendar. In Medina, Islam became more than a set of beliefs. It became a community and a political order. Muhammad emerged as a leader who combined religious authority, political leadership, and legal arbitration. He helped establish agreements among different groups in the city, including Muslim clans and Jewish tribes, demonstrating an early model of pluralistic governance rooted in shared obligations rather than forced conversion. During this period, core Islamic practices took clearer shape. Belief was expressed through acts of worship, charity, fasting, and communal prayer, practices that emphasized discipline, humility, and solidarity. These practices reinforced the idea of the Ummah, the community of believers bound together by faith rather than bloodline. By the time of Muhammad's death in 632 CE, Islam had successfully unified much of the Arabian Peninsula. This unification was achieved not primarily through coercion, but through shared belief, moral reform, and political alliance. The rise of Islam, therefore, should be understood not simply as the emergence of a new religion, but as the formation of a comprehensive social, ethical, and communal system, one that would soon reshape the political and cultural landscape far beyond Arabia.